Hi everyone, my name is Ken Jessup. Today I'm going to cover a new hydroponic tower I just received from Nutraponics.com. It's a small 4.5 foot tall tower. It holds about 45 plants. This will be my first time playing with this particular product. However, I have another unit from Nutraponics that I have been growing lettuce, cilantro, basil. It's worked really well. I've had really good success with it. And so this one I'm anxious to try out. It's a different setup than mine. I will cover mine in a later review, but at this point I'm just trying to cover this smaller tower for those who might be interested in, just growing some lettuce at home, etc., that kind of thing. So let me show you. I haven't unboxed it yet, but let's take a quick look here. As you can see, there's a lot of small parts. I don't think assembly will be real difficult here, but I'll go ahead and pull all these parts out, and then we'll go ahead and put this thing together and see how it works out. Alright, so it doesn't look like any real big surprises here. I'm going to unbox all this. I'm going to be assembling this on my kitchen table today, so I'll set this out of the way. Let's just finish stripping this top stuff out and see what we have in here, should we? First layer is all the little net pot holders. Let's see what else we have. Alright, underneath that, looks like we have our base, a few more parts. Alright, looks like our pumps, the rest of our parts, net pots, etc. Okay, Alright, so here we have all the parts. I just want to give a quick little scope of this. As you can see, it's not excessive. It's all fitting on my kitchen table. As I mentioned, I'm putting this together just in my kitchen. Anybody can do this. There's plenty of room in most apartments even. A little home, you can put this together. As you can see, here's the base. There's the top, sprayer, foam, pump, etc. All the parts are here. So now I'm going to go ahead and start assembling this, and we'll keep track of that and show you how this is done. Alright, so I've taken time to clear some space here. Let's go into assembly. These parts, they're identical. You can see here, it's just a couple of parts that snap together. Line them up, carefully make sure everything's lined up, and snap them in. Just like that. Next part comes along, just snap them in. They're easy to assemble to this point, and I'll show you how the rest of this goes. I have assembled several of these offline so that you don't have to sit and watch, but I wanted to make sure I showed one that you can see. So just see, you just have to make sure you line them up correctly, because occasionally you go to insert this and you miss the line and it wants to sit in there funny. But once you get it, it just snaps right in. Now there's going to be 8 parts in every circle. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one around here. 6. And that's probably getting a little close. Let's move this back just so you can see a little easier. But this is number 7. And this will be 8. So this is a full level right here. Alright, so there's one part assembled. Now, it's not complete here because there are some other parts. I'm going to bring the camera in here for a minute. Alright, so what I want to show you is this little spot right here. Okay, let me see if we can zoom in there, because that is where this part is going to go. Okay, so it fits in here, slides in just like this. Now what it does is it acts as a cup, so that when the pot is in here, the pot will be sitting in water. So as the water drips down and comes down through here, you're going to see water. This fill up with water and hold water. The pot is now going to be sitting in here. It's not soaking in it, but there's enough water there for it to get, the plant to reach out and get some water. The foam that comes with this that you plant your seeds in will soak up water and hold it. And eventually the roots will grow down, and they'll actually grow down and out. You'll see roots spread all over out in here. But that's the purpose of that. And like I say, it doesn't do anything except slide in. It's just a simple little part. One more, you can see. Now, if you look at it, it has a wide section and a narrow section. You want to take the narrow end and just slide it in. And it just slides in until, it doesn't snap or anything. You just kind of push it in until it fits tight. All right, so let's finish assembling these. As you can see, there's one more here. Just slips in. This one just slips in. Voila, one more and we're done. This will be one ring completed. All right, so there's one set aside. All right, so yeah, we have two more rings. Let's look here. I want to make sure I show you this. This is the bottom ring. This piece goes on the bottom. The reason is because this is for the hose or for the cord to come through. Because the pump sits inside, you'll have to have a place for the cord to come through and not leak. So make sure this goes on your very bottom row. Okay, I'll show you once we start to assemble, but I just wanted to point that out so that you don't overlook that. Let's finish putting these together. This is 8. This will be the bottom ring completed. Come on. There we go. Okay. There's that one. And just get some more of these little cups. So that is that ring completed. Alright, so we're just snapping together the last ring. Now let's make sure I showed everybody close-ups of these. As you can see, it's just a couple of this little small clips. Simply line them up, snap them in, just like that. The only thing that's tricky about them is occasionally lining them up if you get it on an angle or anything of the sort. As you can see. Oh, come on. There we go. All in all, they've been really easy to put together. 2 more pieces. That'll have the last ring assembly completed. Now when you're putting these together, you may notice that they seem like they're not fitting real tight at first. Especially as you put the first 3 or 4 together, it looks like they're going to fit funny. But once you finish filling the ring so that it pushes everything together correctly, all those little gaps close up nicely. So we can finish these. And then we'll move on to assembling the tower itself. Alright, so we finished putting the rings together. Now we're down to just the pump and then assembly of the tower itself. The reason we want to do the pump first is because it goes in the bottom, and as we have to stack this thing up, so you want to get it in there beforehand. This is just a little pipe connector. Screws down in here like this. This hose, just like so. just pushes down on there. These are just some suction feet. They go in this hole and slide one way. Just so you can see, there's a bigger hole and a small hole. Slide it in through the big hole and slide it sideways into the small hole, and that'll help hold it in place. All right. One last one. Okay, so there's the pump ready to go. Now, we are going to have to cut, we're going to have to notch this in this little black plastic piece that I pointed out earlier, the rubber piece. This is where your power cord has to come out. So in order to get it out, it's designed to just have a little notch in it. And I don't want to cut it any more than I have to get this power cord to come through it. Now what I'll do is set the pump down in there, and then we'll feed this through, and we'll get this unit put on. Alright, so let's take the pump, just set my garbage in here for the moment. What we want to do is take this ring that has the black rubber piece at the bottom, right here, and we just want to set it down in here, like so. Let me grab the camera and show you how that looks. Okay, so you can see the pump sitting in here. This just slides down in. As you can see, these things just snap down in here, right like that. See the slots, this little place right here on the bottom of here, it just slides down into this notch. Simple, there's nothing to it. It doesn't snap in or anything, it just sets in place. Over here is where we're going to find this rubber piece, and that's where our power cord needs to come through. And just want to work it through there carefully and try not to rip this anymore. Alright, so what I ended up doing is just pulling this rubber piece out so you can see it a little easier. Put the cord through it, just finagle it back through. Slide it in, and then just slip it back in. And it's just a two-piece unit, so it's not temperate, but it has a groove in the outside, like an O-ring that just fits right up in there. So I just snap it back in. Voila, there we go. It's all in place. So now we have the pump in place. Now we're going to want to bring this hose up and out. We want to make sure we take that with us all the way up, but because it's going to have to be hooked up at the top. However, I want to stack a couple of rings on here first. Alright, so next we're just going to take the next ring, we're going to slip it right on top, and it sits down in here. These clips are the only thing you have to worry about. And let's get this aligned, and then I'll show you that. Bring the camera over. Okay, so when you go to assemble this, when you slip this on here, you can see there's a clip here, and there's a clip down below. And hopefully you can see these okay. They're a little bit tight. As you can see this piece goes on the outside. There's another clip in behind there that just slips down in that. And so once you have them all aligned, they pretty much just slide themselves in, unless you do like I just did and get one crooked. Okay, so once you have this aligned, you can see it just slipped right down on. And there's one on every one of these cups. Underneath every one of these cups is a clip. As you can see over here. But like I say, just make sure they're lined up and carefully slide them in. And when you do, when they all line up, they just kind of slide down in and snap. So let's put the next one or two on here. Alright, so let's get back to putting this together. one ring at a time. You just have to slip them on here, pull your hose up through. And again, they just slip down into the little clips. Make sure you get them all lined up before you snap them down in, because if you miss one, you can undo them, but it's a little bit of a headache. If you do miss one, just reach in, pull the clip out, lift up a little bit, move it back in and snap it into place. Alright, so and yes, it is easy to accidentally get one part in behind the other, but it's also easy to fix. It's a minor job to unhook it and pull it back out. So last two here. Alright, so there's the tower assembly completed. Let's alright, just so you can see down inside. I have not got all the net pots in there, of course, but we'll have those done in a few minutes. So now we need to finish hooking up the top part for the sprayer, and then we can put the pots, or the cups, and then the top on it. Alright, so this is just the sprayer head for the top, and all it does is just it just threads onto this black hose. And you could have done it ahead of time, I just chose not to. I didn't want to have to deal with this part up here as I was pulling it all up through. Spin it on there nice and snug. You want to make sure it's good and tight, but it's plastic, you don't need to crank it, over crank it. And now let me get some clips and I'll show you how to put this in. Alright, so this is how this part goes in the top. But I wanted to take a second and show you how these hooks are. You can see this hook over here. You know, all they do is just go around the pipe and clip on right to this little clip. They just slide down in behind it. Alright, so I'm just snapping the rest of these clips on. And yeah, you probably can't see these. Alright, I'll bring the camera over and zoom these in. I want to make sure you can see how these go. But just like that. Let's see if we can bring the camera in here. Alright, so you can see we're just going to come in, slip this on here like so, finagle it back around, and see how this one goes behind this, and you can see the other end goes down in here. Yeah, I realize it's hard to see. Let me see if I can find a better angle of this. See, this is what I'm talking about right here. See how that clip goes down in there? It just kind of fits down in there so that I don't know that it makes any difference there, but it's just a solid position for it. It's kind of got some support there. You can see there's one in each corner. And I believe there's a spare wire there in case you bend or drop or lose one. So now we're all set here. We're hooked up. You can see essentially the water's going to spray out here. It's going to come down and drip down through all these cups and into the nets. And I'll get those all set up here in a minute so you can see how it looks when it's finished. Alright, well that's it for today. I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope this is helpful. Let me show you the final finished product with the lid on it. It's all complete. The only thing left to do now is put water in it and plant it. And like I say, we'll make another video on that another day. But for now, I want to just show you what it looks like when it's completely assembled. So this is not a real big unit. It's about, what, 4.5 feet tall. So, like I said, any small place could be able to run this. You could put this in an apartment. It'd be easy enough to find this room for this in a corner in most places. You know, just put it by a window. Just a quick video of the inside. You can see I do not have water in it yet. That's the next step, but I haven't got to that, so I'll get to that later. And then we'll turn on the sprayers and check it out. All right? Again, thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful.